that's been filed and what the applicant rather is actually asked the court to do?
Sure. So we haven't yet seen the full application. It's just the front page of that application, which has been circulated online. And I've spoken to some of the respondents who say that they have not been served with that application. But from what we can tell, it appears to essentially ask the court to put a gag order on all of these people who've been speaking about the constitutional amendments, to stop them from being able to raise issues about the constitutional amendments, in particular this very critical issue around the fact that in order to amend this part of the Constitution, a referendum is required.
So, but does Parliament have the authority to amend provisions related to the election cycle without a referendum?
So this term about election cycles, which is part of the problem that is being pushed by the regime, is to try and get away from the fact that these provisions which they wish to amend are term limit provisions. And our Constitution defines very clearly what a term limit provision is. It's any provision which limits the length of time that a person may hold office. They are seeking to amend the provision which limits the length of time that the president may hold office from a 5-year term to a 7-year term. So it clearly is a term limit provision. And what our Constitution says is that an incumbent cannot benefit from any extension to their term limit provision. The Constitution goes on to say if you want to change that rule, that an incumbent can't benefit from a change to a term limit provision, then that change would have to go to a referendum. This is in section 328, subsection 7, as read with subsection 9. The Constitution is absolutely clear on this. Previously, the Constitutional Court has ruled in a case that, in particular, section 95 that they want to amend is a term limit provision which is subject to those requirements in section 328, which would require a referendum. So at law, it is very clear that for them to proceed with these amendments, they would have to take them to a referendum. However, the regime does not want to do so because its own intelligence is that it would lose in a referendum, that these are not popular provisions, that there is incredible broad-based opposition to them. However, because a culture of fear has been created and anyone who tries to speak out has been attacked, arrested, and meetings have been banned by the police, it makes it very difficult for those who are opposed to the bill to actually get their message out there.
So now, if the court rules in favour of the applicant, what would that mean for the political actors calling for protests or public resistance? And if the court dismisses the application, what could that mean for the constitutional amendment process?
Yeah, well, I think if the court dismisses the application, it would give credence to the position that has been held by many people that these are important issues that we need to be talking about, and the fact that clearly it is a legitimate and legally grounded position to insist that any changes to the Constitution, particularly of this nature, need to go to a referendum. If the order is granted, I mean, look, we'd have to see what exactly the relief is sought, because we don't have the full relief sought. We don't yet have the full application. We also don't know whether the court will grant all of that relief. But if the court were to hand down an order essentially gagging people from speaking about an important political issue in the country, that would be an incredibly sad day for human rights, constitutional democracy, any kind of semblance of kind of the rule of law in Zimbabwe. For the court to step in and say that people are not allowed to talk about a political issue would be a very shocking ruling indeed. But of course, we have to see exactly what is in that application and what the courts might say about it.
Doug, thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. That was a lawyer in Zimbabwe, Doug Coltart. Time now for our news headlines, sport and business.
SABC News. Headlines. The African perspective.
Thanks, Tracy. Good afternoon. Making headlines, escalating violence in